So only the other day there was a 10-minute long video collaboration between the Eminence in the Shadow and Overlord, which was basically a sort of isekai quartet like OVA kind of style episode. And this was announced in April. It was an April Fool's joke, but it wasn't an official one. But with Halloween, it came out yesterday. And of course, I made my video talking about Overlord and Eminence in the Shadow, which I've done a number of times, as I feel like they're two sides of the same coin, many similarities and many differences. But it felt very refreshing, and just, it almost released that stress of constantly having people breathe down my throat telling me that no, these animes are nothing alike and all this other kind of stuff, and then finally seeing the collaboration and the fun jokes that it actually did at the ending song where they show like the parallels between some of the characters. It honestly just felt vindicating, because honestly it was like, see, this is what I've been talking about. And I don't know why some fans see it as like some personal insult of saying, hey, these two series are alike and different, but what it says to me is that Isekai Quartet Season 3, if and when it does happen, when an official announcement does happen, it's going to have Eminence in the Shadow in it, and it's going to have Overlord, and there's going to be so many fun interactions between the two. But there's a couple of other animes I do want to talk about amongst that possibility of a collaboration, and some that may not actually happen. For those that do not know, Isekai Quartet Season 3 has not been officially announced. Now, at the end of Season 2 for Isekai Quartet, there was an announcement for a sequel, and that sequel was then announced to be a movie. Yes, the movie is almost 2 hours long, which actually technically makes it a full season length, because Isekai Quartet episodes are short. So technically, yes, it is the length of an entire season, but that does not matter, because the studio and the publishers market it as a movie, which is available on Crunchyroll if you want to watch. For some reason, people did not know the movie was out, and people didn't know that Season 3 was never actually officially announced. So with that out of the way, I do think Isekai Quartet Season 3 is an inevitability. But talking about what the potential collaborations could be, now that's where it gets interesting, because I think, honestly, Overlord and Eminence in the Shadow collaboration on a more wider scale is very much possible. Even a movie of them kind of going over defeating two different, like a big villain or their own villains within their own universes, would just be hilarious and fun. I think that is highly possible. But there's also been a lot of other ideas thrown out there, some that make sense and some that don't make sense, but people that don't know why it doesn't make sense. So one of them is Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei makes sense because it follows two criterias. It's an isekai, and it's owned by Kadokawa. Now, for those that do not know, Isekai Quartet is all owned by Kadokawa. They have the licensing and publishing rights to it all. So you, again, have to follow two rules for it to be possibly in Isekai Quartet. Kadokawa has to have licensing to it, and it has to be an isekai. And the reason why I say that is because I've seen a lot of people suggest that slime will be in it. That slime has to be in it. It's so popular. It just has to be in it. Except for the fact it is not owned by Kadokawa. Now, some people have countered that argument saying, well, they'll do a collaboration. They'll work something out. The only party that will lose in this is Kadokawa, because slime would be the one that would gain the most benefit from collaborating. And so then it would have to be more beneficial from an economic side of things for Kadokawa, which they won't do because they have so many other isekais that they can jam into it that they haven't done yet. So for those that don't know, we've had Shield Hero in it, we've had Konosuba in it, we've had ReZero in it, Overlord, of course. You've also had Tanya the Evil, and you've had the Cautious Hero as well, which did a small Easter egg. I wouldn't say it's a proper collaboration, but more of an Easter egg. So you've had a fair few already in there. But you've also got other series that could be in there as well. Log Horizon, No Game, No Life, and now Mushoku Tensei and Eminence in the Shadow. So why have slime, and why make a big deal about slime when there is far more riper fruit to work with? And yes, I know some people will say SAO, but I'm not even sure if they are owned by Kadokawa, but even if they are, it doesn't really fit the proper isekai. I know some people argue whether SAO is an isekai or not. I don't think it really matters. It's more of a transported to a game kind of system, but it just doesn't follow the sort of isekais that these animes are based on. So I feel like the two ripe fruits that could be in the next Isekai Quartet are Mushoku Tensei and Eminence in the Shadow. But I think Eminence in the Shadow is the highest probability. I mean, it's basically teased at the end of this episode that when they did their whole little fun little song at the end and they showed a button on the top of a mountain of gold, Irons presses the button, and then says to be continued, which indicates to me that we are going to get a season 3 or a movie or some form of an OVA. It's going to be one or the other. OVA, movie, or a season 3 where they will continue their collaboration, because honestly, it is a match made in heaven. These two animes working together is just too perfect. Mushoku Tensei could happen, but I think it's a lower chance, and it may happen at a later point. Because again, you've got all these other isekais in there that can still fit in there, all the interactions, all the possibilities. I mean, imagine, Konosuba and Mushoku Tensei and the two main boys themselves, the two main MCs, having their weird interactions. Like, there's a lot of possibilities of where these interactions can go. But again, I understand some fans really want Rimi, my boy, himself, in it. But it's just not going to happen. There's just no benefit really in the long term like that would work well, other than sure it would be like the most amazing collaboration, but these publishers and licenses and studios just aren't going to come to terms, because there'd have to be some monetary benefit and marketing benefit, and I just don't see that being possible. Would be cool. I'd definitely be shocked if it happened, but I just don't see it. I definitely see a continuation with Eminence and Shadow Overlord. I mean, it's basically confirmed at the end of this episode. So if you want to go see it, check it out. I talk about it on my account on Twitter/X, and I show a bunch of screenshots of all the different characters and link to it as well. So if you want to see it, definitely check that out. And again, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Not so much what animes would you like in this, what interactions would you like? Because it's obvious everyone's just going to suggest all the normal animes, No Game No Life and Eminence and etc. But what interactions would you like to see? Would you like to see another interaction between Beta and Albedo? Or more with Sid and Irons? And of course, the one interaction that I mentioned was of course with MC from Konosuba, and then of course the MC from Mushoku Tensei. There'd be some fun interactions with there as well. And what if, with season 2 coming to an end and possibly a season 3 with Mushoku Tensei, what if they threw a bunch of the waifus in with that mix as well? I do think if they did throw more characters together, they would probably separate them into classrooms, so there'd be multiple classrooms and all that. Maybe there'd be like multiple schools that would like collab, and it'd be like some stories so that they don't have to overload the entire series with like 8 different isekais all in one episode, but instead kind of have moments where like, hey, this isekai is going to go on a school excursion, they're going out, and then they bump into another school. That's where it would work brilliantly. I honestly think the potential and the possibilities are endless, and I also think more movies will probably be more likely as well, because I think the movie kind of theme fits really well, where they go on an excursion, they bump into another sort of alternate universe, say Eminence, No Game No Life, Log Horizon, Mushoku Tensei, and then they have that one movie where they're having that fun interaction, and then they can separate them and do another collaboration in another movie or season. Again, I think there are so many possibilities, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And of course, if you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.